July 21st, 2020. This board meeting is being conducted pursuant to Executive Order 202 from Governor Cuomo and subsequent executive orders authorizing virtual public meetings and virtual public hearings. Would you please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Councilwoman Freeman.
Here.
Councilman Perticone.
Here.
Councilwoman Romeo.
Here.
Councilman Weiner.
Here.
Supervisor Seeley.
Here.
Attorney for the town.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening. Just a few remarks, and then we can carry on with our order of business. We do have 3 public hearings, which will commence in succession at 7:35. Then we have about 30 agenda items to get through. So pretty modest agenda for us tonight. 2 things I just wanted to highlight on. First of all, I want to thank our staff today for their team effort and helping provide emergency food to over 1,000 local families. This was done at Skyview on the Ridge. It was a little bit intense as the organization with whom we partnered didn't require reservations. So our highway commissioner, chief of police, the director of administration, Maria Vecchio, they all did a very nice job, and a host of other staff, but really making sure that everything was kept in order. It was a lot of people coming in at once, and probably not ideal, but they did a very nice job under the circumstances, and I thank them for that. And our ongoing food distributions continue next week. Next Tuesday, we will be doing back to our regular food distribution with FoodLink over at the DPW. Residents should call 311 to make reservations for that. Just want to highlight one other thing as it happened after our regular town board meeting last month. We had a very nice Juneteenth celebration, the recognition of the Juneteenth holiday. But at that, along with Councilwoman Freeman, we presented a town board resolution proclamation from the town board, really making an anti-racism statement. Councilwoman Freeman was responsible for drafting much of that, and it really just outlined the town board's expression against racism and pledged to take affirmative steps towards not only combating racism, but looking to make town government more equitable and diverse and representative of all the people. So I want to thank the board members for their partnership in that. Kudos to Councilwoman Freeman for doing a very nice job in drafting that with all of her heart and a little bit of her pen. But it was a nice event on last June, which the town was happy to participate. And okay, so with that, we can now move on with, I did not receive any public input emails sent to supervisor@aronicoit.org. And with that, we can move on to the financial report. Ms. Marsh?
Thank you. The 2020 financial results as of June 30th. 50% of the year has elapsed and the town's total expenses are slightly lower than budget at 48.1%, a sum of $17,748,000. Encumbrances are $2,998,000, while actual expenses total $14,750,000. Please note that the actual expenses alone equate to 40% of budget. Regarding encumbrances, they are typically high during this time of year as departments continue to commit to services, supplies, and commodities that will be needed during the year. The general fund expenses are favorable to budget at 47.2% or $10,377,000. The actual expenditures are 41.7% of budget or $9,170,000. The remaining 5.5% is due to $1,207,000 of encumbrances. Contained within the general fund encumbrances are installment debt for equipment leased by solid waste and the tree program, attorney fees, and other contracted expenses throughout the town. Collectively, the expenses in the highway funds of $2,742,000 are on par with the 50% of the year that has elapsed. The costs result from substantial expenses and encumbrances for gas, fuel, salt, paving services and materials, equipment parts as anticipated. Regarding the library, expenses are slightly below budget at $1,287,000 or 47.5%. Sewer fund expenses of $2,080,000 are at 49.6% of budget. And the stormwater drainage expenses are approximately 56.2% of the budget for a total of $704,000. Actual expenses account for $266,000, while encumbrances account for the remaining 35%. Included in the encumbered amount is a Vector truck costing approximately $386,000 carried over from the prior year. A grant was awarded to the town to partially offset this cost. The general fund has received revenue of $13,755,000, 63.3% of budget. At the end of June, 100% of real estate tax, or $11,185,000, has been collected. 91.4% of payment in lieu of tax revenue is in. Another $25,000 is due in October and will bring that line item to budget. 2 months of sales tax totaling $833,000 or 16.1%, and 3 months of mortgage tax equaling $249,000 or 30.1% of budget have been received to date. Other major revenue sources such as franchise cable fees and per capita state aid are due later in the year. The total town revenue and appropriated fund balance for the first half of the year equate to $26,147,000 or 72.4%. Real estate taxes across the funds are $17.5 million. At month end, the library has recorded revenue of $2,587,000 or 95.7% of budget. The highway fund has verified 80.2% or $4,361,000 of revenue. 99.5% of the sewer fund or $4,112,000 is in revenue. And the stormwater drainage has received 101% of its budgeted revenue, a total of $849,000. Page 3 of this report presents the second quarter year-to-date summary in comparison to the prior 6 years. Regarding expenditures by fund, which are included on the top third of the page, the percent of total budget spent and encumbered is 48.1%, which is lower than the prior 6 years. The middle third of the page contains the pertinent sources of revenue for the general fund, and the bottom third of the page are second quarter revenue comparisons of all other funds, with the last line reflecting the total collective revenue and fund balance for the town. The 2020 general fund revenue of 63.7% is lower than in prior years, as is the town-wide revenue at 72.4%. Various revenues throughout the town have decreased since 2019 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Recreation and senior program fees have decreased, court fines, property tax interest, property maintenance, and library fines. This concludes the report for the month of June 2020. Thank you.
Thanks, Diana. And just a few things. I know we're keeping track of sales tax every month. And April and May were rough months relative to last year. I did get some encouraging information from the county that June was more on par with last year. So I hope that's sustainable. But nevertheless, we continue to keep an eye on where we are with the sales tax revenue. Any questions for the comptroller? And I think in talking with Diana today, she did say that mortgage tax was actually favorable to budget. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I think that means low interest rates have a lot of people refinancing, which for us isn't the worst thing in the world. Okay, we can now move on to approval of minutes.
Did you want to approve the financial?
financial.
Nice, thank you. Can I have a motion to accept the financial report
So moved.
in a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The financial report is approved. I don't know if technically we have to do that. I think it's just a
No.
practice. I should look into that, but let's continue with past practice. So we will now, the financial report is approved or accepted or whatever is required of us. And
Whatever
we
we're
can now
going
move on
to do.
approval of minutes.
June 9th, 2020, the workshop meeting.
Motion
Moved.
in a second.
Second.
Any questions, comments, suggestions regarding punctuation choices? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is, the minutes are approved.
June 16, 2020, the regular town board meeting.
Motion
Moved.
in a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bertacone. Any questions, comments, revisions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the minutes are approved. Okay, we can now move on to items for board action. We can plow through some of these before our public hearings start at 7:35. Madam Clerk,
Item number 4, approving the permanent appointment of a part-time school traffic guard in the Arundecoy Police Department.
motion
Moved.
in a second.
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 Thanks, Chief. You just want to explain the three, just the need and for the three resolutions, and then I'll just identify the individual on each resolution.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. These are going to be positions that are going to fill vacancies for part-time crossing guards throughout the school year. We've had quite a number of retirements in the last since the last school year started, so we're just looking to fill some of those vacancies to provide the safety for the kids crossing the street.
Very good. Okay, the first resolution under appointments would be for Ronald Johnson as a part-time school traffic guard. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 5, approving the permanent appointment of a part-time school traffic guard in the Arundecoy Police Department.
Motion
Moved.
in a second.
Second.
Thank you. This would approve the hire of Scott Siegel as a part-time school traffic guard. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And the resolution is adopted.
Item number 6, approving the permanent appointment of a part-time school traffic guard in the Arundecoy Police Department.
Motion
Moved.
in a second.
Second.
Thank you. This would approve the appointment of Margaret Meisenhall as a part-time school traffic guard. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 7, approving the permanent appointment of a deputy court clerk.
Motion in a second.
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 Thank you. Mr. Vinette, and then I'll ask Mr. Marion just to chime in as well.
Thank you, sir. There is a vacancy due to a retirement in the court, the Justice Court, and we would like to appoint Tong Victoria Nguyen. Dave will correct me if I'm wrong there. This is a vacant funded position, and it's exempt from civil service, so there's no exam to take.
Thank you. Mr. Marion, anything to add?
Thanks, Mr. Supervisor. Yeah, well done on the name. The candidate we seek to hire is named Tong Victoria Nguyen. We just call her V. Victoria Nguyen. Position, as Jason mentioned, vacated by a longtime court clerk, Mary DeMonte, following her retirement in June. Ms. Nguyen entered with the Arundecoy Town Court approximately 5 months ago, or for approximately 5 months rather, in late 2018 through early 2019, performed extraordinarily well. Since then, she's finished her degree at University at Buffalo and has gained experience in several law offices. She's a lifetime resident of Arundecoy, who I think will make an excellent addition to the town and the town court.
Thanks, Dave. And just just general responsibilities of the position, just so the board can understand.
Yeah, the general responsibilities of the position primarily, as far as the portfolio goes, is going to be orders of protection, small claims clerk duties, and is going to be the person in charge of the community service clerk duties. And then secondarily, she's also our second line of defense with the public service window.
Very good. Are there any questions on the resolution or comments?
No, thank you.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 8, filling a conservation board vacancy.
Motion
moved,
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. This seeks to appoint Noel Conderman to the Conservation Board to serve a term with an expiration date of December 31st, 2021. Ms. Ivers, anything to add?
No, just Noelle is a young resident, recent grad. Her background is in environmental science, which is a great fit for Conservation Board. She's got a strong knowledge of plant and invasive species, which here in Arundequit we have concerns about.
Yes, I do. Getting a lot of emails about moths these days. So, any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the resolution is adopted.
Item number 9, approving the appointment of a secretary to the planning board.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Vanette and Ms. Ivers, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Notwithstanding the title of secretary, this is actually a office clerk in the building department. We have a vacancy due to an employee leaving. There's no shift in duties here in the department, but you might recognize Susan Donovan from our senior center. Susan stepped in the department and filled this vacancy temporarily. We would like to appoint her permanently, and this is exempt from civil service, so there's no issues there. And I'll toss it over to Carrie.
Thank you. So Susan joined our staff temporarily when we had a vacancy. She's done such an outstanding job that we are excited to be able to keep her or hold on to her and have her be a full-time member of our team. She's done a really amazing job transitioning into the department. It's during our busiest season. And so it's been really great, and we're looking forward to continuing to work with her.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
aye,
Opposed? The resolutions are adopted, and congratulations to all those people appointed. Thanks to Zoom, you don't have to sit in the beginning of the meeting and stand up and be recognized, but I hope you're watching at home, and if you are, congratulations and kudos to you on your public service. Madam Clerk.
Okay, item number 10, calling for a public hearing on the matter of granting a special use permit for 1233 and 1267 East Ridge Road in an M manufacturing district.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thanks. Carrie, why don't you introduce the resolution and what's before the board to consider? And I think, do we have Mr. Vars on the call or no?
No, not for this one. We typically
Okay.
let them know that
Gotcha.
this is sort of like the housekeeping one.
Understood. So why don't you just run us through what the resolution is?
So the resolution is for the special use permit to associate with the redevelopment of both 1233 and 1267 East Ridge Road. The owner of the property plans to actually combine those two lots so that the existing rated building would be redeveloped from a single use retail facility to a multi-tenant retail building. In addition, the Ridge Rattan building would be demolished and a new freestanding building would be constructed. Because there'd be more than one building on a single lot, and because the existing rated building is being reconfigured to have multiple tenants, and outdoor seating is also on the table for at least one or two of the proposed tenants of the building. There's multiple points that require the special use permit to be issued by this board, and so it's here before you for the special use. The project will be subject to site plan approval, which is slated to go before the planning board next month. I believe there's also a parking parking variance associated with this redevelopment project. But overall, it's a great project as far as reinvestment and redevelopment in existing and an anchor corner along our primary corridor.
Thanks, Carrie. And for those watching at home, this is the vacant Rite Aid that's on Portland and Ridge. And we've seen a lot of new construction take place there, and it's good that people are investing money to, especially to take vacant buildings and turn them into new businesses. I'll just note Board members did receive a document regarding potential end users. That's still considered a confidential working document. So the applicant has requested at this time we not reference any of the tenants at this moment. That will happen subsequently in a future meeting. Any questions for Ms. Ivers on the resolution? This again is calling a public hearing for next month.
No questions, but I was also excited to see that we're going to lose one of the curb cuts in that area.
Yeah, that's going to help with access management for sure at a pretty busy intersection.
Great.
I'm really glad to see this redeveloped and hopeful.
Me too. Okay, any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, and the resolution is adopted.
Item number 11, authorizing an agreement with Catholic Family Center for non-medical home support services to the elderly as approved through the Community Development Block Grant during August 1st, 2020 through July 31st, 2021.
Motion.
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
Thanks. The next 7 resolutions will all be to approve contracts that were awarded subsequent to or pursuant to our 2020-2021 Community Development Block Grant Program. These are all entities that contract with the town to deliver services that we've identified as being worthy as far as funding. The first resolution is for a contract in the amount of $26,100 to Catholic Family Center to provide non-medical home support services to the elderly. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 12, authorizing an agreement with the Housing Council at Pathstone for housing counseling services to low and moderate income residents as approved through the Community Development Block Grant during August 1st, 2020 through July 31st, 2021.
Motion.
Move.
In a second.
Second.
Thank you. This would authorize the supervisor to enter into a contract with Housing Council at Pathstone in the amount of $26,000. This program provides home counseling services and really early intervention foreclosure prevention services for those who are in the first stages of foreclosure and providing options and counseling to those individuals with the hope that they're able to stay in their house. And this has been a very good partnership with Pathstone. We're going to keep an eye on this program to see if there's an increased demand, which obviously we have some funding through the CARES Act that through CDBG that we would be able to supplement. So this is a good program. We're going to keep it at this existing level, but I might be coming back to the board with asking for approval for more funds for this program. Questions or comments?
I just want to give a shout out to Ms. Ivers for her work on this. It's a very important program, and I know we're going to be utilizing its services in the future.
Here.
Dave, I'm really supportive of this, but I feel like I need to abstain.
Okay. It's fine. Any further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Abstain.
Opposed? And Mr. Weiner in the abstention. The resolution is adopted.
Item number 13, authorizing an agreement with the Arundecoy Community Cupboard to provide healthy food choices to low-income residents as approved through the Community Development Block Grant during August 1st, 2020 through July 31st, 2021.
Motion.
Move.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. This would authorize me, the supervisor, enter into a contract with the Arundecoy Community Cupboard in the amount of $22,000. They provide a host of services to residents related to nutrition and emergency food. This particular grant funding supports their weekend backpack program for students, which is an ever-growing demand, and we're happy to continue to help supplement. Any questions or comments?
I just have a comment. I am just kudos to Debbie Evans and all of her volunteers for all the hard work that they do in providing food, not just for our residents, but also to make sure that our kids have stuff for the weekend. And just want to shout them out because they just did a wonderful job in helping us provide food during this pandemic.
Indeed. And I just note, she wouldn't mind me sharing this just 2 minutes ago. Not that I'm looking at my phone, but it did buzz and it was hers. So I just want to make sure I was looking at it. She asked if we could help her out with a back to school supply distribution in August. So her ears must have been ringing. So we're always happy to partner with Debbie on the cover, and we will continue to do so in the future. Any further questions? If you are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 14, authorizing an agreement with Lifespan of Greater Rochester for the Home Safe Home for Seniors program of support services to the elderly as approved through the Community Development Block Grant during August 1st, 2020 through July 31st, 2021.
Motion.
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
Thank you. As the clerk stated, this would provide, authorize the supervisor to enter into a contract with Lifespan in the amount of $15,000. This is the program we fund that provides modifications to senior citizens' homes and those who are disabled, their homes, to help them live more independently throughout. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 15, authorizing an agreement with Lifespan of Greater Rochester for transportation services to the elderly as approved through the Community Development Block Grant during August 1st, 2020 through July 31st, 2021.
Motion.
Moved.
Thank you, Ms. Romeo. Second.
Second.
Thanks, John. Again, with Lifespan, this would authorize me to enter into a contract not to exceed $12,500. This is the transportation program, the transportation alternatives, which we really were ready to kind of get out of the gates, and we're kind of impeded by COVID. We're still providing rides, but they've obviously slowed since COVID, and hopefully there'll come a time where we can really revamp this, and I think it'll allow seniors to be more independent in their mobility choices. But I'm glad Lifespan is working with us on this. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 16, authorizing the renewal of an intermunicipal agreement with Monroe County for the supply of electricity and natural gas to town facilities.
Motion.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Marsh, an explanation, please.
Thank you. This would allow the renewal of an agreement with Monroe County for the supply of gas and electric for a 5-year term. The term would run September 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2025. This will be our second renewal with the Energy Aggregation Group.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And the resolution is adopted.
Item number 17, authorizing the annual audit of the town courts.
Motion.
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Marsh, explanation, please.
Thank you. This resolution is to confirm that the annual audit of the town, which was performed by Bonadio Group in April and May of this year, included an examination and summary report of the town courts, and this is required by the New York State Office of Court Administration.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Mr. Marion, I trust everything was in order.
Everything was in excellent order, Mr.
That's
Stewart.
very good. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 18, approving dry cleaning services with Julian's Dry Cleaners.
Motion.
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
Thank you. Chief, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This is a negotiated item with the Mexican Club, who represents the the officers and some of the command staff of the IPD. This is for the Honor Guard unit to have their Honor Guard uniforms dry cleaned professionally after uses for their special events.
Thank you. Any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted, and I will note Julian's is offering a 10% discount on each order, so thank you to Julian's. Madam
Aye.
Clerk.
Item number 19, authorizing the purchase of a license plate reader and the associated appropriation transfer and amendment within the 2020 Police Department budget.
Motion.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Chief, explanation, please.
Thank you. This is in regards to purchasing a license plate reader with the money that is provided through the Department of Homeland Security. that we entered into an agreement with them several years ago for the Stone Garden project with the U.S. Border Patrol, where the money is controlled by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office until we do such purchase, where there will be no financial impact to us, as it is all grant money.
We got any questions or comments? If you are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the resolution is adopted.
Item number 20, entering into an agreement with Carfax for police program.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wayner. Chief, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This is an online program through the Carfax website where we are able to get information about previous owners of vehicles, as well as accident records and maintenance records for vehicles, which will help us not only with our investigative purposes with motor vehicle accidents, but also any other criminal activity.
Thank you. Any questions on the resolution? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 21, authorizing the approval of educational expenses.
Motion
Move.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. So Mr. Wayner moved the motion, Mr. Perticone seconded it. By what you might have heard.
Okay.
Chief, explanation, please.
Thank you. Again, this is a negotiated item for Sergeant Whitaker, who is completing his bachelor's program through the Utica College Online Cybersecurity. He successfully completed 2 courses and is getting reimbursed up to 80% of his tuition fees as per the contract with the Knights of the Club.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the resolution is adopted.
Item number 22, authorizing the purchase of one 2021 Ford Utility Police Interceptor all-wheel drive vehicle.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. Chief, explanation? You're on a roll.
Thank you. So this is a budgeted item for a replacement vehicle to the police fleet. For this is going to replace a vehicle that was involved in a motor vehicle accident last year and subsequently deemed unrepairable. And again, it is a budgeted item.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all, did I hear anything from the board? Just want to make sure. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 23, authorizing the chief of police to enter into an agreement with New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services.
Motion
Moved.
in a second.
Second.
Thank you. Chief, explanation, please.
I think we've had an ongoing agreement with DCGS where we share our criminal information from across not only New York State, but also from across the country to help us with our investigations and also to obtain criminal records and criminal histories for anybody that is that we have contact with that we end up arresting.
Very good. Relatively straightforward. Long agreement, straightforward concept. Anyone have any questions or comments?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 24, authorizing attendance to TASER instructor recertification course.
Motion
Moved.
in a second.
Second.
Thank you. Chief, explanation, please.
Thank you. This is for Sergeant Whitaker, Investigator Lape, and Officer Fitzak to attend a one-day TASER recertification instruction course being offered by the manufacturer, which is Axon International. It's held in Ontario County. This is for them to be able to provide the instruction for all of our TASER certified officers to not only maintain the instructor certification, but as well as allow them to certify the current users as well as new users with a less lethal option when it comes to any type of altercation with another individual.
Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it. Obviously, it coincides with our use of force continuum. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Let's get through the last police agenda item before we go to our hearings. Madam Clerk.
Item number 25, authorizing the supervisor to execute a contract for legal services related to compliance with Chapter 96 of 2020.
Motion
Move.
in a second.
Second.
Thanks. I'll handle this one, Chief. So a recently adopted state law, Chapter 96 of 2020, made significant changes to the law with regards to what types of employee records are to be confidential, and specifically those of law enforcement personnel. As such, many of the personnel records of police officers that were once confidential are now non-confidential. Recognizing this in a really strong paradigm shift in how we take freedom of information requests very seriously, we look to procure the services of a firm that specializes in FOIL with regards to this. We did conduct a RFP, did send an RFP to 3 firms. Only Coughlin Gearhart responded, and it is our intent to, at this point, recommend that the town contract with Coughlin and Gearhart for the purview of assisting the town with compliance with Chapter 96 of 2020. Their rates, Andrew, sorry to say this, the rates are actually competitive with Heart of Seacrest, so this would actually, I hate to say it, possibly save the town money, but I can't guarantee that. But any questions or comments?
How long is the contract for, Dave?
You know, it expires December 31st, Kimmy, and then if we still have pending issues, we'll look to
roll it over.
I hope that we're going to be fielding FOIL requests on this for some time, I think.
Right.
This is a major thing, and there's a lot of requests for information, many of which are redundant, but it's a lot of redactions, et cetera. Our goal is to make sure we are complying with state law, but also not releasing information that we should not be releasing. So that's what the law firm will assist us with.
Very good.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Okay, let's do some public hearings. Madam Clerk.
Okay. Public hearing number 1 on the matter of granting a special use permit for 2012 East Ridge Road in a C business district.
Very good. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Ivers, can I ask you, A, to provide an explanation, and B, to let us know if the applicant is also online, if he wants to give a description of what he's looking to do. You're on mute, Carrie. That look was priceless.
My space bar function did not work. I apologize. So I will let you know that the applicant is here as an attendee. I'll be able to unmute him in a moment. I can give a brief overview of why this requires a special use permit from the board. So the space that the property owner wants to convert from which is currently a retail space into a residential or a dwelling unit, so that the building would be a dwelling unit on the first floor and then a dwelling unit up above. This use itself would be subject to a special use permit in the C business district. However, it's also required because this is a lot that's got multiple buildings on it. And so similar to the application we just accepted, at 20 or down at the other end of East Ridge Road, this one also requires a special use permit because of the change in use on a multi-use, multi-building lot. So if you'll give me a moment, I will unmute our applicant, Mike Alisi. We'll be able to chat now. So Mike, you should be able to speak freely. The board is ready to hear your summary of your application.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me tonight, board. And I also want to tell you I appreciate the beginning of this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Very nice to see. Anyway, we bought this property in 2012, and the particular building that we're talking about was a house at one time, many years ago. And above, on the second floor, there's an apartment. On the first floor, we bought it, there was a UPS type package store in that space. About 6 months in, after we bought the property, he vacated. It was empty for around 18 months, and a vape store opened up in there. He only lasted 4 months. It was vacant for around 8 months, and we had a mattress store in there for about just over 2 years recently. The problem that we're having here is that the parking is limited in the front, and I think people are somewhat uneasy about pulling in and out of there. I know that we own the laundromat next door, and I know that it's tricky backing in and out of that space. It's also relatively small. We originally thought that possibly an attorney or an architect or a plumbing company or something, a service type company would be really good in there for a headquarters, but we've had very little luck trying to find that type of fit. So our thought is we would like to turn that into a spacious 2-bedroom apartment. And we know that once we do that, we can always rent apartments because that's what the business that we're in. We own commercial and residential apartment real estate. So that's kind of where we're at with it. Like I said, it was originally a house and it was converted to commercial, and that's what we're looking to do.
Thank you, Michael. Does any of the board members have any questions for the applicant?
I have a quick question, Mike. Hi, this is Kimmy. So I'm guessing that you're anticipating the parking there will be more than enough to add on additional living space.
Yeah, a 2-bedroom apartment, I can't imagine 2 cars, possibly 3 would be the most. And it would certainly be a lot less traffic in and out of than in a retail store. And we also have parking in the rear. So there's plenty of parking for residents, actually.
Good.
Thank you. Any further questions from the board?
I would also like just to point out that this was subject to the planning board's referral, and the planning board did issue a positive referral, but asked that this board condition that this go to them for site plan review. They identified concerns with wanting to address issues related to parking, the facade, and how the existing signage would be treated or handled.
Okay. Carrie or Nate, do we have any members of the public who have tried to log in to participate in the hearing?
I don't see any new attendees that's participated. The only attendee is our applicant.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, Michael. I don't think we have any further questions from the board. With that, I will take a motion to close public hearing.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 The hearing is now closed. Thank you, Michael. We can excuse him. Madam Clerk, please take up item 1A.
Approving a special use permit for 2012 East Ridge Road in a C business district.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Alisi, who was just on as a witness to the public hearing, has submitted an application to obtain a special use permit at 2012 East Ridge Road in a C business district to convert the first floor from retail space to a residential dwelling unit to create a multifamily structure. This requires a special unit pursuant to town code. This would approve said special use permit. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, and the resolution is adopted.
Public hearing number 2 on the matter of consolidated sewer district extension to include 166 St. Joseph Street.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Moved.
And a second.
A second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The hearing is now open. Mr. Carley, an explanation, please.
Thank you, Supervisor Sealy. This resolution, as Madam Clerk said, would allow this property to enter into the consolidated sewer district pending this public hearing, which will allow any current town resident to voice any concerns regarding their connection.
Thanks, Bob. And they have not already connected, correct?
That is correct. They have not connected.
Okay. Any questions from the board before we see if anyone in the adoring public wishes to comment on this?
No.
Can somebody, can Nate, can you let us know if anyone's queued in to?
There are currently no attendees.
Okay. With that, I'll take a motion to close public hearing.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The hearing is now closed. Madam Clerk, 2A, please.
2A, approving the extension of the consolidated sanitary sewer district to include 166 St. Joseph Street.
Motion, motion
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Public hearing number 3 on the matter of Consolidated Sewer District Extension to include 137 Seneca Park Avenue.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Moved.
Thank you. In a second.
Second.
Thank you. The public hearing is now open. Mr. Kiley, it's my understanding that this would provide a connection to the Consolidated Sewer District at 137 Seneca Park Avenue. In full disclosure, these are adjacent parcels, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, very good. Anyone, Nate, I assume we do not have anyone in the public wishing to chime in on this?
We do not.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Kiley as a witness for the town? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close public hearing.
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now closed. Madam Clerk, item for board action 3A, please.
Approving the extension of the Consolidated Sewer District to include 137 Seneca Park Avenue.
A motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. Pursuant to a public hearing that was held approximately 30 seconds ago, this resolution would authorize the extension of 137 Seneca Park Boulevard to the Consolidated Sewer District. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And the resolution is adopted. Okay, we can finish up with Public Works and then Supervisor. Madam Clerk.
Okay, item number 26, calling for a public hearing concerning adoption of a local law standardizing new grinder pumps by residents for connection to sanitary sewer.
Before we take up the resolution, I have can I make a motion to propose a local law regarding standardizing new grinder pumps to amend town code in accordance? Can I have a motion with that? The proposed law is in the town board members' packets, the language. Can someone make a motion for that?
I'll
Moved.
make the motion.
In a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That local law has been introduced. Madam Clerk, you can please read the resolution title again, if you will.
Okay, calling for a public hearing concerning adoption of a local law standardizing new grinder pumps by residents for connection to sanitary sewer.
Okay, motion
Moved.
Moved.
in a second.
Second.
Thank you. I believe this, Ms. McGee, an explanation, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution calls for the public hearing to amend our law for the connection to the sanitary sewer. The future residents that connect with the use of a grinder pump would standardize the type of pump that could be used by private residences. The commissioner and or his or her designee will maintain a list of at least 2 pumps for the standardization, and this public hearing would be held at the next town board meeting.
Thank you. And as we discussed, this would kind of standardize this throughout town, but it's done in the context of the proposed new sewer district to be created on Bayshore Boulevard, correct?
Correct.
All those residents are now on septic, correct, and will be attached to the new main created that will consolidate into the sewer district, correct?
Yeah, it would be approximately 30 homes that would need these grinder pumps, and it would standardize the grinder pumps that those 30 homes would be using.
Thank you. And if I'm not mistaken, okay, very, very good. And I believe at workshop, Bob or Aaron, we approved the resolution to commence the process for the creation of that new district, correct?
Yeah, I can chime in here, Supervisor Sealy. We started the process at the workshop by which we would establish an extension of the Consolidated Sewer District for the 30 homes on Bayshore Boulevard, which is a Lake Ontario Resiliency and Economic Development Initiative, or READY project, heavily subsidized by the state of New York at 95 cents to the dollar.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? And again, this will call for a public hearing to take place next month on the proposed local law. We have not had a lot of local laws this year, so we need to pick that up in the second half of the year. 2018, Madam Clerk was not happy. I think we passed like 11 local laws, which is easy for us, but then she's the one that has to file them with the Secretary of State and et cetera. Okay, hearing no comments, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, resolution is adopted.
Item number 27, regarding sanitary sewer easement agreement with Point Pleasant Estates condominium.
Motion,
Moved.
second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Kylie, an explanation, if you will.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Since the Point Pleasant condominiums have been constructed, the town has been maintaining the sanitary main and pump station associated with that condominium complex. This paperwork was never filed back in the late 1990s. And as we prepare to move through a READY grant, again, the Resiliency and Economic Development Initiative, for the replacement of several pumps in the Point Pleasant or German Village pump station, we need to firm up the easements, which, ultimately we have had, but were never filed. So this resolution would authorize the supervisor to execute the easement documents necessary for the town to proceed with the grant process and formalize the town's ownership of the sanitary main and sanitary pump station, which we have been maintaining since the late 1990s when it was constructed.
Splendid. Any questions for Mr. Kylie?
No, but thank you to Mr. Kylie and to Aaron McGee for getting this all tidied up for us.
Yes, good actions require a lot of paperwork and work on the front end. So nice job, guys. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 28, authorizing the supervisor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the city of Rochester.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Kylie, explanation, please.
Thank you, Supervisor. This resolution would allow the town yourself to execute a intermunicipal agreement with the city with regard to the St. Paul Terminus Resiliency and Economic Development Initiative project. This terminus project would see break walls being constructed near the DEC fishing access, a series of work within the county storm sewer, a pump station being constructed, which of course there are benefits to our town residents, as now some pumps can actually function in that neighborhood during flood conditions, and also upgrades to the Somerville pump station. This intermunicipal agreement will allow and really partner the town with the city who is really moving through the heavy lifting, procuring, moving through the engineering, procuring engineers, and then ultimately bidding the construction oversight for this project. But the town would see the pump station pumps replaced at a cost to the town of $12,500 for the state investment of 200 and I'm trying to do that math in my head. It's a $250,000 grant, and 5% of that is paid by the town. I'm sorry, I could not do that math. 238,500
ish. We're getting near budget time, so much to Diana's chagrin, I'll start using the word ish a lot.
The town also will partner with the city for a 50-50 split of the just over $16,000 worth of matched 5% match that the town and city again will split for the construction and installation of several additional retaining walls near the fishing access, which has a $8,150 price tag to the town. So ultimately, this project is one that will bear significant improvements to that neighborhood, west edge of the harbor. Many of the residences in that neighborhood that during flood conditions can no longer use their sump pumps to protect their basements from being flooded. So for, again, minimal investment and maximum investment from the state of New York at 95 cents to the dollar, this would allow you, Supervisor Sealy, to execute that agreement with the city.
Okay. Nice work on this, Bob. I know it's been a lot of intergovernmental communications, which isn't always easy. This is about 7 different government agencies working together. So we appreciate your work on this. Any questions or comments?
Just to follow that up, Supervisor, a lot of the public might not know grant money is awesome to receive. Administering those grants, that's a lot of work that happens. And I certainly appreciate, again, Aaron and Commissioner Kiley and the work they've put in, and yourself, Supervisor. It doesn't happen without good leadership.
Yeah. Just retract the last sentence there, because they wouldn't put me anywhere near a grant disbursement agreement because it would get screwed up. So your adulations to Aaron and Bob is well warranted, and I'm flattered that you would loop me in. But our staff does a great job, and Bob throughout the past 4 years is probably sees these in his sleep, and probably could open up when he retires as commissioner, could open up some kind of consulting in 2061 when he retires.
Okay.
We've done a lot of grants in town, and we've funded a lot of public works projects on those grants. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the resolution is adopted.
Item number 29, authorizing the supervisor to enter into an agreement to provide mat rental and cleaning services for various town facilities.
Motion.
Moved.
And second.
Second.
Thank you. Deputy Commissioner McGee, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution authorizes the town to enter into an agreement with UniFirst Corporation for mat cleaning services at Town Hall, Public Safety Building, Pine Grove Community Center, and the new DPW.
Thanks. Any questions or comments? Appreciate the work on this. It's good stuff. Seems mundane, but it actually is providing a very good service that we need at a lower cost. So kudos to you, Aaron, and your team. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 30, approving the American Red Cross to hold a blood drive at the Arundecoit Town Hall.
Motion.
Moved.
And second.
Second.
Thanks. I think almost every month we've had a board meeting since COVID. We've had resolutions for a blood drive. We've had them continuous throughout COVID, and we'll continue to do so as long as there is a need. Thankfully, the need is not as significant as it was 2 or 3 months ago, but we will have a blood drive at August 20th from 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at Town Hall. You can go on to the American Red Cross's website to search for nearby events and register there. Also, I will note, even though I kind of question the value of antibody testing, they will provide antibody testing upon request. So that's an added service to incentivize you. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed? Okay, thank you. The resolution is adopted. Thank you, board members. We got through a pretty lengthy agenda tonight. This concludes our body of work. The next workshop meeting for the town board will be held Tuesday, August 11th, 2020, 4 p.m., either in the Broderick Meeting Room, most likely in the Broderick Meeting Room, because we need to get back together, and could still be virtually, but also the next regular town board meeting will be held Tuesday, August 18th, most likely in the Broderick Meeting Room at Town Hall to begin at 7 p.m. The time is 7:58. You're welcome. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Have a pleasant evening, everyone.
You too.
You too.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Arundecoit Town Board on ICAT, Government Access.